This is the morning of the 4th of November. A clip put up by News War Room. Title: Supreme Court ends Trump's power. Judicial order crushes executive immunity. This could be interesting. Let's listen to this. It plays for about 6 minutes and 47 seconds.
All right, stop everything. I need your undivided attention because the legal war game just ended and the results are catastrophic for the presidency. What just occurred in Washington is a fundamental, history-altering collision, a definitive ruling from the Supreme Court that did not just settle a case, it crushed the very notion of executive immunity. I want you to lean in because this isn't just about accountability. This is the moment the highest court in the land drove a golden stake through the heart of the imperial presidency, affirming that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. The narrative is simple, but the stakes are infinite. The former president claimed absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts conducted while in office. His argument boiled down, unless the president is impeached and convicted by Congress, he is a king immune from prosecution. This theory, championed by his legal team, sought to create a perpetual get-out-of-jail-free card for any actions taken during his term. The Supreme Court just handed down its definitive ruling. The score is definitive. The court rejected the most extreme claim of absolute immunity, striking down the theory that the presidency grants perpetual criminal protection. It has clarified the boundaries of power, and for the first time in history, it has placed firm, non-negotiable limits on criminal accountability. The irony is brutal. The man who reshaped the court with his own appointments is now being constrained by the very institution he sought to control. We need to dissect the ruling because the judgment contains two devastating blows that ensure this case proceeds to trial. The first blow is absolute. The immunity claim is denied. The court rejected the notion that the Constitution vests absolute criminal immunity in a former president. It affirmed the presidency is not a law-free zone. This is the first time the court has explicitly confirmed that a former president can face criminal charges for actions while in office. The second blow is strategic. The case must proceed. The court sent the case back down to the lower courts to determine which specific acts were official versus personal. While this creates delay, it forces the lower courts to assume that prosecution is the default path. The defense must now argue point by point why each alleged act of conspiracy or obstruction is somehow protected by the outer perimeter of presidential duty, a nearly impossible task. This is the crushing moment. The highest court has ruled that the legal battle is not legal theory, it is criminal liability. Legal scholars are already comparing this to United States v. Nixon in 1974, which established that the president is not immune from legal process. However, this ruling goes further. It directly addresses the criminal liability of a former chief executive, settling a question that has haunted the republic since the founding. The Chief Justice, writing for the majority, emphasized that the decision was necessary to prevent the collapse of the entire system. He effectively argued that granting full immunity would collapse our system of separated powers by placing the president beyond the reach of all three branches. The threat was clear. If the court had granted full immunity, it would have created a king above the law, destroying the very foundation of the American Republic. The judiciary stepped in and established the final red line against executive totalitarianism. The defense's core strategy, delay, has been dealt a mortal wound. Every legal challenge the defense team threw at the wall has failed to stick, proving the validity of the prosecution's initial strategy. The defense must now engage in a brutal act-by-act legal defense, arguing whether an action like coordinating fake electors falls under the official duties of the presidency. This forces the defense to put their entire case on the record, and opens them up to massive cross-examination. The defense team wanted to fight on immunity. Now they are forced to fight on the facts of the crime. Justice Sotomayor's opinion, though a dissent, warned that even the limited immunity granted creates a law-free zone that frees future presidents to engage in questionable conduct using their formal powers. This ongoing debate provides excellent analysis material on why this legal battle will continue to define the limits of power. The consequences of this decision are immediate and vast, ensuring high audience retention. This ruling sends an unambiguous message to democracies around the world that no head of state is absolutely immune from criminal accountability, even after leaving office. This is a massive affirmation of democratic norms. The ruling exposes the failure of Congress to create clear statutory limits on presidential power, forcing lawmakers to look at new legislation that precisely defines the boundaries between policy and crime. The Supreme Court affirmed the independence of the judicial branch and delivered the ultimate constitutional check on presidential ambition. The court became his shield, but now it has become the line in the sand. The final message is clear. The Supreme Court affirmed the independence of the judicial branch and delivered the ultimate constitutional check on presidential ambition. And that is the absolute truth. This is the ultimate insider analysis of the constitutional fallout. If you agree that no one, not even a former president, is above the law, make sure you smash that like button right now and get this video trending. Subscribe to the channel.
You know, if he wasn't above the law, wouldn't he be in Rikers Island right now? I mean, he's a convicted felon, for Christ's sake. You know what happens tomorrow? Well, tomorrow the Supreme Court's going to be listening to arguments about his tariffs. And as I stated, I don't even understand why. The Constitution is very clear. Only Congress can impose taxes or tariffs on anyone, let alone some dope who doesn't even know where he is, who can't even walk in a straight line, who keeps mumbling and fumbling. He's going to lose his effing mind if they rule against his ability to impose tariffs. I'll attach the link. Take a look at it. Stay tuned for the next few days to see what the Supreme Court does. We might not hear their ruling for a while. But again, they're supposed to begin hearing arguments starting on the 5th, which is tomorrow. Pass along, folks. I cannot do this alone. And thanks for listening.